What started off as just literally a group where we read the content of the Core of the Universe book has now become so much more than that. It's a whole online, not just program, but community as well. The program elements are there. There's video content as well. There's reflection questions. There's a space for people to join webinars and events and sort of.
Welcome back to Love, Life, and Legacy, the podcast dedicated to helping you navigate these hypersexualized times, folks. I have a guest. I'm having more guests on lately. I like it. I like friends. I like having friends. But this guy is something else. He is David Huish. I'll just stop being mysterious. But he's been the birth giver and caregiver of Core. He is the reason it exists and the reason why it continues to grow. Because he really cares. It's kind of like he's scratching his own itch. Obviously, it's a program developed to help people really be prepared for marriage, for blessing, to be successfully single. And yeah, we get into a lot of this. Being single seems like a disease in this world where people try to kind of avoid it at all costs, when in fact it's a glorious time if you allow it to be, but it requires you to be a thoughtful person, to be comfortable in your own skin, to be comfortable with your own thoughts and feelings, to learn how to communicate. These are just general life skills that are kind of becoming antiquated in a sense. People are just avoiding themselves, right? Through their phones. So they don't even know themselves, right? But Core goes in the opposite direction. We are creating a culture of connection, and Core is how to be a single person that is connected to yourself and community. So we get into all this and way more. Please welcome David Huish, everybody. Everybody, we have a very... Oh, you even look tall on this. I got to get closer. We have a tall person on our podcast, but we got the budget. We can afford all the pixels in the camera. His name is David Huish. You may know him. He is a tour de force. And have you been on the podcast before, David?
Yes, I've been on the podcast a couple of times. So nice to be back.
So welcome back, as they say when they remember. But okay, so I was speaking with NGM. Do you know NGM?
Yeah, yes. The new task force in America.
Yes, they are the new acronym in town. We have so many acronyms, and this one is tricky. I actually like it. I spent time with them and I got to know what they're building, and even next gen missions, they have a new logo. It's pretty bland, but in a good way. But GPA, I think we just got really used to GPA, and NGM is so close to MGM, which is a massive conglomerate, right? So it's like it's a tricky one. And you really have to enunciate the N. Anyway, I was trying to explain to them how we have different worlds in our universe, in the High Noon universe. And I think a lot of people still don't know. A lot of people don't understand that we're more than just porn recovery, that we are many, many things. And before I explain it, I usually take a deep breath and I say, "Are you guys ready?" And people are genuinely quite shocked to know how much we've evolved. And you've been a huge part of that evolution, young sir. So David Huish comes from a little place called Europe. And within Europe, there's United Kingdom. And within United Kingdom, there's a town called Lancashire. Just kidding. I don't know. Which town do you live in? That's the most generic, fake British town I could think of.
You're not far off. It's Orpington is the town.
Orpington. That sounds like KPI, or was it KSI? Gumpington.
Oh yeah. No.
Okay.
No, kind of on the border of London and Kent. So I've got one foot in both worlds, city and countryside.
Kent is straight country, or is it suburb?
It's a mix of suburban towns and country, but it's mostly just fields, which is quite nice.
Fun fact, last time we were at David Huish's house, it was a disaster, from many different perspectives. One, I had, first time in my life, heartburn. I didn't even know what that was until I went to the UK. And it wasn't your fault. It was the plane food that I had on the way there. It gave me something called heartburn, which is essentially when you die from the inside. So I was dealing with that. And then I was not up for it, but your dad was like, no, you got to come back. And so he brought us back to your house. And the moment we arrived in your house, your mom calmly looked at it. Your mom looked at your dad and said, oh, you've got to go to the hospital. I was like, what? And she's like, yeah. The youngest son just broke his arm. He fell off the trampoline, and your dad took it like a champ. I've got to say, he didn't freak out. He's just like, okay. And then he just looked at us. He's like, I probably won't see you the rest of the day. And we did. That was the last time I was in
Yeah.
your house. I was dying, and your brother nearly died. But then we still had a great time. And your mom makes great coffee, and she's a great hostess. And you were a kid. The very first time that we went to your house, you were a straight up kid. You're the eldest of just a horde of kids, but you were one of said kids. And now you're a man. How old are you now?
21. So, yeah.
Wow.
Feeling my way into the life of manlyhood. Yeah.
How old were you? You were 19 when you joined High Noon, right? As a staff?
Yeah, as a volunteer. Oh, actually, the proposition to support the core program, well, it wasn't called the core program back then. It was just the idea was to study the core of the universe. That came about when I was 17. And so core was birthed, I guess you could say, by the time I was 18. Yeah, it's been 3 years of this program.
So just so you know, when somebody lands on Uncle David's radar, I don't know if you guys have seen Star Wars or these kind of nerdy movies, but there's these tractor beams. Like if you're in the orbit of one of those bad guys' ships, they put the spotlight on you, and then you're stuck in their tractor beam, and they just kind of, somehow use gravity, even though to just pull you in. It's a magnetic force. They pull you in. Uncle Dave saw something in you where he was really excited about you, and he saw a vision for you. And then you seemed to be equally excited about High Noon. And so it was kind of an inevitable situation where you were one day going to be in this world. And so you were 17 when you gave first birth to your first baby, which was the idea of core. And so 17, most kids are still picking their nose in public. They're, especially guys, really out to lunch. In no way, shape, or fashion thinking about the blessing in any serious way. Just get a lot of gaming, a lot of stuff. But here we met this young, tall lad who fell in love with core of the universe. Yeah. And then you just felt, hey, we need to do something with this. I at the time it was, you wanted to do a Hunduke group, right? You're just really hounding us, and even you wouldn't let it go. And I remember you were emailing me, and then you were emailing Benji, I think, maybe just focusing on us. I'm not sure if you were spamming everybody, but you were determined. Something has to happen here. And so I took your idea and I made it into something completely different. And it wasn't at all what you wanted, or what you had a very clear vision of what you wanted. But I think Benji Moore was like, yeah, just let him go, let him fly. So I was like, yeah. And so is that how core started? It was just a Hunduke group? Because I remember that's what you wanted.
Yeah, that was kind of the backbone for the program. I think Benji, who was at the time, he was the program's coordinator. He was able to add a bit more structure to this idea of a Hunduke group. But yeah, we actually already have an episode on the podcast sort of talking about the origins of core in a way. So I guess people can check that out. But yeah, I guess as you were saying, just having the sort of the passion of Uncle Dave, who seems to be like, he's like Dumbledore. He's able to put faith in people to be better than what they believe they can be. And usually that pays off. And funny enough, there's actually been something I've been reflecting on recently, is that I feel incredibly grateful to have had a lot of people, not just Uncle Dave, but many people in my life who have believed in me, from a young age. And there's a power there. And I feel like now actually I'm starting to think, how can I put more faith in people younger than me, or sort of the next wave of young people? I'm still young, but yeah, I think faith goes a long way when you have faith in somebody.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And so with that faith, and then you were given some space, but also some support, you've been building this thing. And has it been 3 years?
3 years. Yeah, that's right.
Bananas. Yeah. And so core has evolved into give us the kind of overview of where core is now, like what it is, and what incarnation can you find core in right now?
Yeah, I mean, what started off as just literally a group where we read the content of the Core of the Universe book has now become so much more than that. It's it's a whole online, not just program, but community as well. The program elements are there. You know, there's video content as well. There's reflection questions. There's a space for people to join webinars and events and sort of gain information. But more than that, it's become like a phenomenon in terms of a community space where singles from literally every corner of the earth. We've had people from Korea, America, Africa, South America, even Australia, and of course Europe, just come together, complete strangers, on an online space, which is not easy as a place to connect. People prefer in person. Just on WhatsApp, we created this community where I guess people feel like they can be themselves. They can be open. They can be honest about this topic, the topic of marriage, which is on the hearts and minds of many, many people in their 20s, young adults. So it's, a space where people have been able to be open with one another and support each other. You know, maybe they don't have advice to give to each other, but more just the recognition that, hey, we're all on this journey together. We all want to be blessed in marriage. And there are challenges and hurdles on the way. So let's face them together. And, if you'd asked me at 17, 18, 3 years ago, did I imagine that? I would have said not in the slightest. So it's really a community.
It's got its own energy, right? So a lot of times, especially with something like Ascend, people are really working through their shadows. They're not used to saying out loud what they're feeling inside. So it's a bit of a challenge to get people to openly chat, let's say in a forum, just to kind of want to talk. You have to pull it out of them sometimes. But you've discovered kind of an energy that exists where there's a bunch of people who actually really want to ask questions or answer questions, or you've created the most lively chat scenario that we've seen. So what is it like when these people join Core? What is this energy that they have inside of them that wants to be played with and understood? Like what is it? Why are they meeting up together?
Yeah, I think we've tapped into an energy that already exists before, High Noon even came around, which is just this inbuilt desire for connection. I believe people want to connect, and people want ultimately to experience a family in the future, to build a family. That's been around for a long time. It's not like we've come in and invented the idea of the blessing, right?
Speak for yourself. Just kidding.
For sure. We just want to help people on that path, right? Because we ourselves in High Noon have been touched by the power of the blessing, whether we are blessed ourselves or come from a blessed family. And I'm aware that maybe the numbers or the energy with Core sometimes supersedes that of the other programs, Ascend, Radiant. But then I think that especially with Ascend, which is such an important program, it's not a comfortable one for sure, because you're facing your shadows, you're facing stuff which maybe you've never shared with people ever. Whereas the emphasis on Core is a completely different thing. It's far more positive in terms of you're thinking less on your issues and more about your future, which of course, it doesn't mean we don't dwell on the issues. In fact, many times Ascend-like content will come up where it's like, okay, let's talk about our sexual integrity. Let's talk about our traumas. And then it comes out that actually maybe what's best for you right now is to focus more on Ascend, actually. Go to Ascend program and work on yourself there rather than get blessed straight away. So I guess answering your question, I just feel, the energy was already there. It's inbuilt in all of us. We just found a way to bottle that in one space. And I think that's why there's so much enthusiasm, because it's being talked about, right? The desire to get blessed.
Well, let's talk about this point. I'm really interested. I want to dig into this because there's been a constant sentiment for decades for millennia, I guess, that you cannot talk about sex as a bunch of people who haven't had sex without it leading to sex. It's kind of like, I don't know, some mythic creature that if you, I guess like Voldemort or whatever, you can't say its name, otherwise bad things will happen. right? So even us, we didn't know exactly the parameters of the discussion of sex. How much can you talk about sex before it becomes unhealthy, toxic, dangerous, tempting, whatever? And typically religious people err on the side of, well, just opt out entirely. That's the best bet. Just mum is the word, right? Don't say anything and then everything will kind of work out, which obviously is not a plan. It's a reaction. But again, we were in the early days of High Noon talking about it from the podium, and then people would ask us questions. And then eventually we created discussion groups in our live events, but it wasn't too in depth and we didn't know how much people could healthily talk about sex. So like you have an entire space on the internet where people typically have never had sex are talking about sex, and like how is that working? How is it not a complete quagmire, which is what a lot of I want to say elder parents or just parents in general might worry about? How is this actually working?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good question. I think context really helps, because when we say we're talking about sex in the program, it's not like we're talking about, well, these are all the methods about oral sex that's going to work in the future. It's not like that. It's really, I mean, Father himself, True Father, was incredibly vivid with the way he described a lot of sexual activity many times. And there's a reason we didn't hear so much about it, is because a lot of his translators just downright, refused to translate it in English because they were ashamed. But yeah, the contents of the core of the universe itself, True Father's speeches, he is sharing about sex, yes, in a very colorful and sort of exciting manner. Of course, it's going to excite us. We're sexual beings. Of course, that stuff is going to ignite something in us, which is divinely put, I guess you could say. It's there by design. But it's with the context of really this pure intention of, this is something for my spouse. It's not for me. And this is the whole point of the core program, is to realign this mantra, also this kind of mindset that people have in this world, which is sex is for my own pleasure. That's basically what runs the porn industry, is what runs most relationships, dating relationships, is how can I fill my own void? How can I feel happy through pleasure? Whereas the blessing is completely different, because the blessing is not about me. It's about what can I build in the future about my family. And the idea is that sex, my sexuality, my sexual organ even, is for my spouse. And the beauty of the way that Father talks about it, and Mother as well in the book, they're really talking about how can I bring forth not just my physical self, but my emotional, spiritual self to the marriage, so to my marriage, right? How can I love my spouse with this unconditional heart? And my actions and my decision making is for them. And so many of the young people that come to our program, sure, maybe they've heard from principal talks or from their parents about what the blessing is for, but to have a space where they can realign their perspective of sexuality to this thing which is for their spouse in this really pure light. It's, for some people, it's revolutionary. For them, it's life-changing to hear it in this context. I had a really great group, actually, of guests who are not members yet of our community. They are all sort of friends of ours through COP, and they decided to join the core program. And we had the best time, because for them, reading this was really fresh for them. They haven't even heard that much divine principle, so they're really, really just open-eyed, open-hearted. And so they're reading this, and there's one paragraph in the book which just Trafalgar is describing, on the day that your spouse is dying on their deathbed, you should take a wipe and clean your spouse's sexual organ and then kiss their sexual organ goodbye. That's a really beautiful but really vivid image. and these brothers,
can
we were just
interpreted many ways depending on your desire to understand or to judge.
Right. Just as an example, here's one paragraph, right? And the brothers, we were laughing. We're like, what are we reading? But at the same time, it wasn't disgust. It was like, wow, this is actually kind of profound. This is really beautiful. The paragraph was 164. So we've been joking ever since. We should make t-shirts, paragraph 164. It's a beautiful, beautiful paragraph.
Like all the John 3:16 t-shirts out there.
Yeah, man. So,
but okay, so one thing is yes, True Father would talk a lot about sex, but he did so only as he was already in his 50s at that point, or 60s, right? And he was a married man, popped out a bunch of kids. Obviously, he entered that world, the world of sex, right? He didn't speak about these things earlier on when he was a single man, or just it took him some time to get there, right? And providentially, you could argue is just because he had to kind of chip away at a lot of stuff. True mother, nah, she didn't really talk so much about this stuff. But the point is, single people hearing this, have you discovered the parameters of what is healthy and kind of gone deep with that? And then you've also touched on the edges of what's not healthy. Like, do you have a sense of when something is becoming unproductive, like in the conversation, if people are asking the wrong questions or the conversation goes sideways? How is it that you know that? Because, we're talking about introducing the topic of potentially speaking openly about sex, and people can interpret that a million different ways, right? It's different than locker room talk. It's different than hanging out with the boys and saying like that kind of energy, which is very childish and, like you said, not about the other, it's about self. Usually objectifying women if it's a locker room of guys. So that's obviously counterproductive. But then what are the outer edges of productive? Like how do you know that a conversation about sex is ultimately productive in your experience?
Right. Actually, I think it's an encouraging sign that I'm finding it difficult to answer this question, because it's not something which comes up so much that
because it's natural.
Yes, I've never had the experience of someone like pushing the boundaries of the certain questions they ask, or making the whole group super uncomfortable with what they're talking about. Maybe I'm the person that makes people uncomfortable when I'm talking about my perspective on these things. But no, I think especially since, and I should specify as well, the groups that we have in this program are gender specific as well. So we have our own space of brothers of manlyhood, and then of sisters of womanhood, where we can share openly with one another. And I've never heard of someone like making everyone else super uncomfortable with there's been no unnecessary banter around sexuality. And of course there's a bit of humor is always nice to add to this kind of conversation as well, to make it lighthearted and not feel so serious. I mean, it is serious, but like in a digestible way. But yeah, I think I'm impressed with the I guess the purity within the hearts of those that participate in this program. They genuinely want to prepare themselves well for their future. And maybe some of them are a bit more inquisitive than others, but usually the discussions are really pure and really fun. And even there are aspects of the program where we have guided discussions between men and women as well, where we don't dive super deeply into sexuality so much as a topic, but more just relationships in general and blessing in general.
If you're thinking about your future blessing and your future family, this matters more than you think. Most people say they're preparing, but they stay passive, unclear, and totally alone. And then they carry that into their marriage. You don't have to do that. You can step into a community right now that's actually intentional, people who are actually serious about growing, about becoming ready, about building something real. If you want to enter your blessing with that clarity and confidence, go to highnoon.org. We are waiting for you in the inside.
And people are just really happy to talk and really happy to get to know also the perspective of the opposite gender and really understand the opposite gender on a far more deep and well-rounded way. I've seen that be a beautiful thing. So sorry, I can't really answer your question so well because it doesn't come up actually so much. Yeah.
Yeah, that's, you're obviously attracting a very high quality person, to join the program. So something we're thinking about though, because, as we're figuring this whole thing out, I don't know how much people deeply consider this, but every time you are engaged in an interaction with yourself or with other people or with God, if you are intentional enough, what you're doing is you're practicing the induction of Chanuguk into that environment. And the more that you normalize it, the more that you're actually creating the semblance or the beginnings of Chanuguk, right? And so in terms of sex, we are learning as a human civilization how to converse and how to conduct ourselves in the world of sex in a heavenly way for the first time, genuinely. And so it's important that our intentions are pure, but that we figure out what are those outer edges, right? Because a lot of stuff that we have in our mind and in our consciousness is just crap, right? And so our questions even are based on a false premise, false kind of worldview. So then how do you reorient yourself into a heavenly context, right? So it's something worth considering, right? Is that we're helping people to segue into a much more loving environment in relation to sex, right? And you're obviously are already doing it unconsciously, but it'd be nice to know next time you're on the podcast, how is it, what are the limitations of that? And then when does it start to get weird and awkward? And obviously that hasn't happened yet, but good to think about.
I think we're still learning as well. I mean, our program is only 3 years old, which is actually quite a significant amount of time, but we're still learning all the time. And also for myself, I am only 21 and I'm still single and I'm still working on this part of my life of trying to be ready for the blessing. Sure. And I found myself observing different things or different depths to this topic as I've gotten older as well. Like even now, more recently, I'm recognizing that one of the needs that is being filled in this program is hope. And hope that the blessing is even possible for people. And a lot of people come into this program actually feeling quite hopeless. Maybe they've been trying for many years to get blessed without success. And they're starting to think, maybe I'm not cut out for the blessing. Maybe I can try and find a relationship elsewhere. And I only really started connecting with that more once I started feeling hopeless on my own journey and having moments even this year where I was like, what? Am I even strong enough to achieve the blessing myself? Do I even have it in me to stick to this path, right? I feel quite confident in myself now, and I've been really grateful to have many great conversations with my parents, with other people this year. That's really helped me to feel motivated on my own journey. But just that simple the ability to resonate and empathize with people and their experience is really it's a beautiful thing. It can be a painful thing, but it is beautiful. So for sure, we're still learning as a program, but I can tell you for sure that I'm really seeing more and more that this space, this community, this program, it's providing a place where people can feel hopeful again. And that's I would say that's kind of diving into one of the other topics we wanted to talk about, but I would say that that's a big victory that I've seen in this program.
Yeah, it's amazing because you are the catalyst of it, but it's taken on a life of its own, right? So then what does CORE offer at this point? Like, what is it when somebody enters that world? What is it offering them? What are they getting out of it?
Mostly they're getting a space to connect with a group. That's been what we've learned, is that is the most attractive part of the program. We've experimented with the program quite a bit. We've tried more video content, less video content. We've tried an online course that people do by themselves. We've tried not doing the course, different elements. And it all comes down to the fact that we realize from people's feedback that the highlight for them has always been the group and being able to connect with their fellow singles. And so we've been developing our program around that. That is the core of CORE, is the connection, which is our motto with High Noon, right? The opposite of addiction is connection. The opposite of isolation is connection. And so what people are getting when they sign up for CORE is that they're getting a family, they're getting a group, they're getting a community they can be part of. Everything else, I think, is extra. It's bonus. The content is bonus. Even the Core of the Universe readings, in a way, is a bit of a bonus because, of course, it's really wonderful to hear about the blessing and hear about True Parents' words, but without the real need that people have in their hearts, which is to feel connected and loved already. That in itself, I think, is a fantastic preparation for the blessing. Because people need to feel filled. They need to be filled in order to be a great spouse, in order to give. We have too many people in this world trying to fill a void with their boyfriend, with their girlfriend, that we're just not designed to fill. We need to be filled individuals first. And that's what I've seen people are getting with CORE. Yeah.
Some level of fulfillment through connection, through community.
Yeah. And maybe I should also add as well that it doesn't work every time with CORE as well. We're not a perfect program, and not every person feels fulfilled with their group every single time.
For sure.
Right? I should add that for sure. Like it depends on the quality of the facilitator who's taking care of the group, but also the participation of the participants. They have to actually participate well and invest. So I've seen many different groups. Some were challenging and not so, there was not so much connection, and others became, had a life of its own. Right. So yeah.
Yeah. I think I've been really circling that in my mind lately. Is just all religions need to really rework their marketing and say, this isn't for everybody. Here's the type of people we need at this phase, because every organization you don't want everybody equally all the time. You want, okay, at this stage, we're in the building phase. So we need some independent thinkers. We need some self-motivated people, you kind of, and then later we can take more challenging people and we'll help you because we'll have more of a foundation. Same with our groups. We will be able to handle thousands and thousands and thousands of people. But now we definitely want deeper thinkers, right? We don't want people who just are looking for easy answers. We want people who are willing to do the mental work and emotional work of knowing themselves and understanding this stuff. And yeah, so that's cool. And then what have people's experiences been? Do you have any examples of people having a particularly good experience, or in what way? Because I'm thinking about the people that I was just talking to, like, why would it be worth their time? Who's this for? And like, what would you hope to get out of something like this?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very happy that we actually have a nice catalog of YouTube interviews with core participants. So you can hear it from their mouths rather than mine. I think I can only say from the coordinator's perspective, and also as a facilitator, getting to know the brothers in my group. So I recommend you check those interviews out, whoever's watching or listening to this podcast. But yeah, what I can say is quite a few of our participants have gone on to get blessed in the past couple of years, which is the ultimate goal. I think there's a few of them where they probably would have got blessed at the same time, whether core is around or not. But it's certainly, I've heard from people who've told me personally that core was exactly what they needed to help them get blessed at the time that I did. Yeah, really, like people just who needed that connection, who needed that realignment of their perspective of sexuality and the ideal of the blessing. It provided a space for so many people to have like a trampoline that trampolined them into the blessing quicker than maybe if it wasn't around. But we also have so many other participants who have not yet got blessed and have been coming back to the program 3, 4, 5 times. Many of them become a facilitator and they want to give back to this community. They want to support their brothers and sisters. And I think that's another victory that's worth shouting out. The core program is not just for getting people to the blessing. Actually, that's not even our responsibility. That's BFD's responsibility. We're just trying to, feed them with a bit more inspiration and support. But what it is doing is creating more well-rounded, happy singles who they've opened up, they've come out of their shell, they've been able to talk about sex and the blessing and themselves with others, and they're becoming far better communicators. They're becoming far more courageous, far more clear in what they want in a relationship. I think we're building a community of really good candidates, which I believe is quite special. For myself, for sure, if I look back at when I started Core, I've changed a lot as a person and I've really gained a lot of skills, communication skills, organizational skills, people skills through this program. I don't have any like written testimonies prepared for this podcast, but more just whenever I receive a text from somebody after a program is finished who just says, thank you. Thank you for providing this space. Keep going. Even for people that didn't have the best experience, they just say, keep going. It's good. Keep doing what you're doing. And then I see people either get blessed or they've developed a better relationship with their parents or with themselves. That's the true beauty of this program. And yeah, I've often shed a tear of joy seeing the success and the brightness it's bringing to people's lives. So yeah.
Yeah. That used to be a smaller group, is now much a bigger group. Every single time there's a blessing, people that we know, because back in the day it was just Ascend. And so we really got to know these guys mostly. And we really helped them to clear the path for the blessing. So when we'd see them at the blessing, we'd be like, yes, we'd really feel like this is a High Noon couple, right? They got our stamp of approval. But that has increased quite exponentially now with Core. There's many more people impacted by High Noon. And yeah, like you said, some people were already on the path and we just help to move some of the twigs out of the way, some of the thorns, so that it could be a more enjoyable experience. But for other people, they were completely lost and we helped them develop that kind of clear path to the blessing. So, wonderful. And so what do you think is the reason, like when somebody takes core, they have questions, and then what answers are they getting? That is it about themselves? Is it about the blessing? Is just sex is this dark cloud over a lot of people's heads, and talking about it brings light, and now they just feel comfortable to proceed with the blessing? Or like what is it that you think that people are getting from core that helps them to feel more prepared for the blessing? What is this thing that's occurring?
I think it's a more realistic expectation on what the blessing looks like. They can see the couples that are involved in High Noon, whether it's the High Noon staff or the couples that support our programs, and they can see that they're not just stereotypical religious couples, but they've really built that upon real values, upon hard work and dedication and communication and all these and the 500 virtues as well, like, really courageous people who learn to be honest with one another, learn to have accountability in their life, to be people of integrity. Seeing that, I think, is far more powerful than just information, right? Yeah, sure. Core provides information. It's right there. We have videos, we have the Hundake, but just seeing the reality of it and realizing that actually my marriage is something which is going to be very, very real. So I need to prepare for that in a very realistic way by building these characteristics, these virtues. That's what people are getting in core, what I'm seeing. And I think, people's feedback is sometimes people really like the content and they shout out the content, but more often than not, that they're explaining or sort of sharing more that it's the real examples they can see in front of their eyes. That's what's inspiring them on their journeys. Yeah.
Is it a combination of clarity and confidence? Is what I'm hearing.
Clarity,
just confidence in themselves.
Confidence. Yeah. Clarity, confidence, skills that they're developing. Not all people are very good at communicating. I wasn't so good at communicating before the core program, and I learned how to be an active listener. And so something which I really hope to bring into my blessing, where I can really listen to my wife well and not just offer her solutions, but actually really hear what she has to say and relate to her. So skills, confidence, clarity. Yeah. And this energy as well. Like you mentioned it earlier, this energy that's brewing within the program, just seeing other people go through the same journey. It's encouraging. If you want to get a 6-pack and you're doing it by yourself in the mountains, okay, maybe someone would enjoy that. But I personally would feel so much more motivated if I had 6 other guys next to me trying to get a 6-pack. And it's far more encouraging.
Absolutely. Yeah. The company that you keep. Okay. And then is there anything that you sense, because you're the Lord of this program? Is it continuing to evolve? Do you see some changes occurring in the near or not so near future?
Yeah, it's a work in progress. But what I see being the change is that we open the doors a little bit more to anyone to receive support and guidance. It's not something we're fully equipped for yet, let's say, to have the entire Christian or Muslim community to join core, but we're working on it. And I'm really passionate personally about opening those doors to anyone. And I'm testing the waters with people outside of our movement. And I've seen mixed results, but lately I've been seeing a lot of positive results. So I know it's possible. So maybe next time we're on the podcast, I'll be telling you how the president of the United States, whoever is the president in a few years, is advertising the core program to the nation. Maybe
that might get us in more trouble than help, given the political situation. Whatever the president says, regardless of who it is, half the country will try to kill us. So, I like that. So a more broad audience. And then so we for sure have a broad appeal, but I'm sure the results will present themselves to be more acute and more specific and more precise, because a few years ago we were debating about this, and Benji really championed this idea that This is not a blessing preparation program. This is a marriage preparation program, meaning that it's general skills that you will learn on being a more marriageable person. And it translates beyond just the blessing, right? I guess it's more encompassing. So, I hope to see more and more this taking on a life of its own, right? That core becomes its own thing. And it already is, but that it really, there's too many people who don't know about this yet. They don't understand it. They don't see themselves in it. But yeah, that's it. It's very interesting when you talk to a group of young people, it could be in their early 20s. The group that I was speaking with the other day, there's probably 60 of them or something like that. And there was between 19, let's say, and 23. And a lot of them just don't see the correlation between the future and the present. They don't see that, I'll get blessed later when I'm ready. And they don't even have a sense of what ready looks like. And it's all kind of like all or nothing. I'll figure it out when I'm there. I'll do it tomorrow, like homework. I'll do it tomorrow, ma. But core sounds like it's attracting an audience that wants to figure out who they are. And I hope that it can kind of evolve into even earlier stage. Like before you're thinking about the blessing, that at least do you want to be, well, we were talking about successfully single. Like, what does that even look like? Okay. Before you get into a relationship, do you want to be happy with yourself? Do you want to be happy with your life? Or do you want to just kind of hold out all happiness until when you're finally with somebody? And that obviously doesn't work. It's not a plan. Right.
Yeah.
So very exciting stuff. Do you have anything that you'd like to parlay that people should know about? Give something, plant a seed in some people's mind?
Yeah. I guess just the title of this episode actually is, preparing for marriage starts long before you actually meet someone. And I agree. It's something you have to put the effort into and really work towards in building your character. I think we should be raised in our communities and our families to do this anyway. Being stubborn, defiant teenagers, we probably just try to get away with doing as little as possible sometimes. I think our youth is the best possible time to grow our character, to grow our skills. And I would hope to see more progress in that. Perhaps the 18-year-olds down the line will be far more mature than when I was 18. As someone who's still single and has been preparing actively for the last 4 years, I can say for sure I'm a much happier single. I'm a much clearer single. I feel like I can be a better blessing to other people around me, my friends, my family, which I would hope would translate into being more marriageable. That's for my future wife to decide. But at least for myself, I can say that putting in the work has been so worthwhile, not because I have a ring on my finger, but because I am a happier man, happier individual. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I like it. I do think it's gonna become much more pronounced, the difference between somebody who's put in the work and is ready, and somebody who's just going along with society the way that it is. Like how much they'll be able to be even remotely functional in the realm of relationships. And so this core is a lifeline. Core is a lifeline for anybody who wants to be comfortable in their own skin and comfortable in their future marriage, regardless of how seriously you're contemplating marriage. It's just a good investment. And this is not a sales tactic. We don't make money. A lot of times people are like, what are you trying to sell me? Is like, even if you join our programs, we're going to be working hard because it's a nonprofit. So we're happy to, because this is the work that if everybody's working on themselves, seriously, not just self-help book section, but actual like deep work, working on, like you said, communication skills, like how to listen, the basics, the fundamentals we're all meant to learn when we're growing up. This is all preparation for you forming a functional marriage, ideally functional family, and the world needs a critical mass of them if we ever want to have any type of sustainable peace. Otherwise, it's just ugly. So yeah, if you feel called to be healthy and functional as a single person now, please, by golly gosh, join CORE. How do they join CORE, David Huish?
Go to highnoon.org, click on programs, click on the singles program. It's right there. I think by the time you'll be hearing this podcast episode, the next cycle will be starting at the end of October of 2026. So, or if you have my contacts, reach out to me. I will show you how to register. Yes.
He'll show you. All right. Yeah. Reach out to David Huish. All of our emails are on the website. What you're at David Huish?
David Huish at highnoon.org. Yes.
Man, we are absolutely out of Andrews and Davids in terms of our emails. We already had is Uncle Dave, he doesn't even have a High Noon email, does he?
I think he does he? I should maybe just
know.
change my name to, I don't know, Yoda at highnoon.org or something like that. And just
We don't hire at this point in High Noon's history. We do not even consider hiring anybody unless they have the name Andrew or David. That is just a weird rule that we've adopted. So, anyways, really nice having you on, and it's great to hear what core is evolving into, because it did seem like I didn't quite get it at first. I didn't know really people are gonna want to do hunduke about sex. Like, okay, maybe you and your friends. It seemed I didn't really get it. I didn't catch it, but it's really developed into something quite beautiful, and you're to thank for that. So thank you for championing this, and I'll see you in Opington. Is it Opington?
Yes, please come. Opington.
Yeah, I will come just for your mom's coffee. She makes really good coffee.
Yeah, we will provide coffee. But, thanks for having me on. Pleasure as always.
A strong marriage doesn't start at the blessing. It starts right now in how you live, how you grow, and who you surround yourself with. If you've been passive, unsure, or just hoping things will work out in your future blessing, this is your chance to change that. To prepare with purpose, to walk with others who are taking this seriously. If that's the kind of foundation you want in your future, guys, check us out. Join our community at highnoon.org. Totally free. We will see you there.